I have it's probably more questions in one, so feel free to answer whatever you want. So it's about spontaneous movements / meditation / chakras / whatever. First of all, I'm my Kundalini awakening happened around 5 months ago, and yeah, I did a psychedelic trip as a treatment for depression, and at the same time I was going through kind of like a course of 6 weeks long that we were learning metta bhavana meditation or loving kindness. And I really have the feeling that that also contributed to this, because I was working on, at that time I wasn't really aware of it, but I understand now that it was really a lot of heart opening, and that even though we are talking all the time about the base of the spine, I think the heart is really the center where everything kind of comes together. And yeah, so since then, I have a lot of spontaneous movements when I meditate. And I'm still trying to do the loving kindness meditation, which has its own way of doing, and the mindfulness of breathing. And so I have a dilemma, because when I do loving kindness, first of all, I had huge insights with it, because it's probably the first time in my life that I'm really having an insight what love is, and like how difficult it is to love oneself with all the flaws and imperfections and whatnot, dysfunction. And this is the first time that I'm learning to love that, the dysfunction, the pain, everything that I perceive as wrong about me, etc. And I really think that Metta Bhavana is the method that taught me this, and that Kundalini is giving me these insights. So I really feel that it's like those two things together. And for me, it's really like mind blowing, like how, like we as a species don't know to love. We don't know what love is, and how that's why we are suffering so much. And I'm just learning this about myself. So I mean, that's why I find Metta Bhavana so powerful and so important. But at the same time, when I meditate, I have a lot of involuntary movements, and it's often difficult to have my mind, settled, because the more I move, the more the mind is crazy. And when even my mind is always rushing 100 miles an hour, and it's very interesting for me to see, even though I have the Kundalini awakened, the mind is rushing still, like crazy. And, everyone speaks about the calm mind, but my mind is really not calm. So I hope that will come at some point. And then I also, yeah, so that is my dilemma, like how should I continue doing Metta Bhavana if I'm moving all the time, and sometimes I really am trying, but like I cannot, or I'm effective maybe, I don't know, 10% of the time that I'm doing it. And the other question is, yeah, first of all, my involuntary movements, there's a lot of different ones, but one of them that is very dominant is that I bend down a lot. and my crown touches the ground a lot. First my crown, my forehead, and then my chin. And then I go up, and then it goes around and around, like it repeats itself. To me, it looks like, first of all, devotion and humility, but also, yeah, the energy is trying to go up. Um, and today I had an experience where also one of the movements that it's very dominant is my head goes up, like really bends backwards, and my mouth opens.
Hmm.
In the beginning, I was feeling a lot of pressure in my throat at that moment. And then with time, it kind of relaxed. I didn't feel it, but today I felt a lot of pressure, like being, strangled.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, was that some like release in the throat chakra? Because after that, I also like had my tongue got out, and then I had a huge like breathing out and started making faces like I did in the beginning. And then like heavy emotions came up, and then I was crying for a while. um yeah, anyway, sorry, there's a lot of questions here.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you don't have to apologize. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, there's so many ways that we can look at this dilemma you have between engaging in metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation, which requires, that you sit still according to the protocol, and then you have this other uh, force in you that's spontaneously moving you and engaging in all sorts of kriyas and emotional releases and whatnot. So many ways you could talk about it. The way that's coming to me to address it here in this moment is to see Buddhism as a very effective path, but highly masculine, highly patriarchal, right? It's a bunch of men got together and said, let's sit still and love and love. Like that's what we did. We're gonna sit still, and if you move, you're not doing it right. It's too masculine. It's too masculine. Let's open up towards a more feminine approach. Let the Shakti within, the divine mother within, let her have have her expression here too, right? Um, you can begin your session with metta bhavana. Sit still. With that can be your intention. When something arises to move, go with that. Then just flow. If nothing arises to move, keep sitting still. That's fine. But keep some room for the feminine to also come and have her chance to express here as well, right? And so this can help you to really make your practice your own, as opposed to something that was prescribed to you by some man or some, you get what I'm saying. Make it your own. So flow, dance, move, feel emotional about it. It's all good. It's all good. And if you would like, you can set the intention that when you begin the session, when I enter into this container between now and for the next hour, whatever arises in here, it's all going to be saturated in loving kindness. That can be your set it and forget it intention. Now you're in there, you can do whatever you want. You can anything happen. It's all going to be soaked in divine love because that was your intention from the beginning. You don't have to sit still in order for it to be saturated in metta, in loving kindness. You can set the intention at the beginning. Whatever arises in here, it's all going to be in love. I can't get it wrong. It's all welcome here. It's all good, right? And then we want to go back. We want to remember what happened to the Buddha, right? So you're speaking about your mind with Kundalini awakened. Your mind has become more active. People are describing their mind has become quiet, their mind has become blank, they're in peace, etc. Yeah, people will describe that. But let's look at what happened to the Buddha. He sat under the Bodhi tree. Yeah, he said, I'm not getting up. So he sat still. But when he sat still, he didn't get peaceful. He didn't have a quiet mind, right? It was very challenging for him, right? Demons came, they tempted him, all sorts of challenging things. Storms came, right? That's essentially where you're at now, right? So stuff is coming up. It's coming up to be exhausted, to be released, to be let go of. right? To be expressed so that it no longer is stored within you. It's on the other side of these releases that then there's actually the potential of a quiet mind because there's nothing left for the mind to say. It's all been said. That's how we get to those points. But that's later on. In the beginning, right? Let this all come up, knowing that whatever's coming up is coming up to be exhausted out of my system. It's a very empowering way to look at things. That way, we don't beat ourselves up if fear comes up or anxiety comes up or memories of the past come up. We say, oh, great, it's all coming up to be exhausted. Fantastic. No problem here. No problem. Right. So find your own way with these different things that are arising in you, trusting that your system, your body is putting you into these kriyas, it's putting you into these emotional states because it knows that's exactly what you need in this moment. It is far more intelligent than the prescription of some meditation teacher, right? Let the intelligence within guide you. Let the intelligence within guide you. You can use the prescription to get started and then let it rip from there. Let your body do what it needs to do. That's how you can move through this very, very efficiently, very efficiently. Um, if you're engaging in, say, a meditation community, right? If you go to practice meditation in a community, then they may not s- allow you to engage in spontaneous movements. Then you may have to see where does your um, allegiance lie? Is it with the tradition? Is it with the teacher? Or is it with the teacher inside you? Yeah. And it doesn't have to be fixed. You can go back to the tradition at some point. You can say, hey, I'll come here now and then when I feel like I can be still, but don't ignore the inner teacher and what the inner teacher's trying to do, right? Give the divine feminine within a chance to lead you. And I think it'll all unfold well for you. In terms of the Kriyas and how they're unfolding, yeah, all sorts of releases and the Kriyas will sometimes evoke certain emotional states of humility, like your example, you're bowing down, putting your head on the ground. It puts you in a humble state, a surrendered state. It also unfolds energetic stuff going on in the body as well. It creates the right physical context for energy to flow. So just trust it all. You can sit in awe of it. It's fascinating to witness. And none of it will go wrong for you. Just allow it all to unfold. This is your body doing what it knows is necessary for you at this time.